Well, we have to start with Hell's Kitchen, right? So
Congratulations first.
big congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So your career, you've done so many great things as far as in the world of art, music, but now to venture out into, doing plays on the biggest stage possible in Broadway is something that is not a small feat, especially for somebody from our culture. It's extremely important to break down barriers and to bring this world of Broadway plays to hip hop culture. I think is extremely important. And we got a chance to go to the play, and it's actually my first time ever going to a Broadway play ever in my life.
Come on, this is the one you need to go to. If you're gonna go to one,
this is the one.
This is the one.
No, that's a fact. And I think it was really tastefully done and really dope how it depicted like your life story through music. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking of like other artists that I would like to see their life stories being played out as a musical, right?
So I'm gonna cut you off because it's important that it's clear that this isn't my life story. Okay. This isn't autobiographical, but this is a New York, all the New York energy and New York experiences that I've had growing up in New York is definitely infused into this story. So there are pieces that come from my experiences, but it's not like my life story.
Loosely based?
We can say, I think loosely based is a fair statement. I just want everybody to know.
But
the most beautiful thing is it's our story. Like it's everybody's story. You can relate, but please continue.
But the music ties it all in, which makes it really, really dope because it's like, I'm just kind of talking to the audience that haven't seen it yet. So all of your classic records are placed in the storyline. So it all kind of comes together and it all makes sense.
I love that part too. That part is really exciting. And because it's about a 17-year-old girl named Allie who's really looking for her freedom, her independence. She's, we all remember being 17 and how that felt. Yeah. And she's being raised by a single mother in New York in the 90s. So 90s New York way different from, I don't know, it's kind of starting to reflect in some ways. So
some similarities,
but 90s New York was its own specific energy, and so it was dark, it was hard. So for her to be finding her way through it and being raised up by this community that's around her, but also to find this kind of mentor in this woman who teaches her the piano, it's I just love that you can see so many sides of ourselves on that stage and so much diversity on the stage. So for those like you who said they never been to a Broadway play before, I could see why. And I think this is such a beautiful invitation that everybody belongs, everybody belongs here.
I think the beautiful invitation part is exactly like how I would encompass it, right? We've seen different genres. We've seen Jersey Boys and we've seen Neil Simon. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And we got Motown and MJ was incredible. But there was never one from our generation, right? From our songs that we grew up listening to as teens, and it was like, oh, this is it.
Right.
So it was crazy as it was going on. I'm looking around, I'm like, this is great, and I look and I spot you. I'm like, oh, she's really here. But I'm watching your interactions as you're watching it, and it's like they're nailing it, you're grooving to it, and so I started thinking, I'm like, yo, what was that like? You said loosely based, so what was it like crafting around, we should put this piece in, let's give New York a feel here. What was that creative process like for you? Because this is different, right? This isn't an album.
Right.
This isn't art.
Right.
But it is art, right, in a sense. But
a different art form.
An art form.
And it's a new art form. I think that's what's cool. I mean, I think what's really special about this is, as a kid, my mother grew up in Toledo, Ohio, moved to New York to come to NYU to study acting. So she was really always in love with theater and off-Broadway and the National Black Theater and all of these things that would be a part of my consciousness growing up as a kid. And so I got a taste of a flavor of how you can express in that way, in this more theatrical way that has a beautiful storyline and an arc that you can fall in love with the characters and all these kind of things. And I think that theater or that acting, theatrical side had definitely found its way into my music, for sure, the videos. Because I think a lot of the videos, if I think of it, If I Ain't Got You with me and Meth, and that whole conversation about like when you fall in love with a guy who might be, this is his lifestyle, and you end up suffering in a way because you love this person. And So that drama, that kind of theatrical storyline has always been really important to me. Even with Fallen, like Fallen was a big storyline. So I think that it's always been infused in there, but people would always ask me, would you do a musical? And I was kind of like, oh no, maybe, but I would want it to be special, want it to be different, and I think that's what makes this really unique. So the process of creating Hell's Kitchen came from feeling like there's so many stories that I know from our world that I'm not seeing out there in the world. And this, obviously, I've been developing this for 13 years, by the way, so it's been a minute. And 10 years ago, 13 years ago, television, film, for sure, theater, there's recently definitely been more focus on diversity all across the board of entertainment, I think, especially from a theater, film, television perspective. So that was what was in my head. And so that was what I wanted to put together. I grew up in this building called Manhattan Plaza. It was subsidized rent for artists. So my mother could afford it because it was $75 a month at the time. We would have never been able to live on 43rd Street and 10th Avenue.
$75 a month?
$75 a month.
That's crazy.
Because it fluctuated depending on the artist's income. Right. If you had like a lot of jobs, you paid a little more. If you didn't have many, And so that was really special, and it was the only building of its kind. And I knew that was such a unique story. So that's kind of was the foundation of what we started to build Hell's Kitchen around. And then we put Allie, who's the lead 17-year-old, Malia Joy Moon, Jersey's the single mother who's really trying to raise her daughter in a hard neighborhood, Shoshana Bean, who's a monster. Incredible. Davis is the father, who's Brandon Victor Dixon, and they, they're having how to get through their relationship in a way that is it's not a normal quote unquote relationship, but whose are.
That was a pleasant surprise.
Whose ever are.
Yeah, we saw him in Power.
Right.
And then we were like, wait, that's the dude from Power that's singing like that?
Right. He could sing.
Wow, he was good.
Yeah, he was incredible.
He's so good.